My first karate sensei was the Green Power Ranger, the original. You might know him as Tommy, but I knew him as Jason David Frank. And I want to talk a little bit about my time at the Rising Sun Dojo and what it was like training under him. Here is my original uniform. I was bullied heavily in school. I was the kid whose backpack was a piece of luggage with wheels. That was me. Bullied very heavily, physically, verbally. And I would go to the teachers and the principal, who knew me very well. I was a star student. They wouldn't do anything, which is a common thread in bullying stories. They don't want to deal with it. So I went to my parents, frustrated. I knew they were wrong. I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong, but I still had to suffer. And it wasn't right. And I was completely powerless. So my parents suggested that I take karate lessons to defend myself. I thought it was necessary, and we went to the closest dojo to our house, which just so happened to be Rising Sun Karate Academy. Unfortunately, nowadays it's closed after Sensei Jason passed away. I had no idea that a TV and movie star was the head of this dojo. So imagine when I show up and it's not only one of the Power Rangers, which is dope, but it's my favorite. And a lot of people's favorite. The green. Green's my favorite color. He had the coolest special move, the jump spin kick. Awesome. I'm in immediately. On my first day, I remember one of the requirements for getting your white belt is learning to absorb a blow, right? Concentrating your muscular energy, your ki, making yourself hard to absorb a blow. I think this is cool as hell, so I'm ready. He sidekicks me. When I say I flew across the room, I mean it. My feet left the ground, I traveled through space, hit the floor, and rolled. My parents were mortified by this and were ready to pull me out. I, on the other hand, stood up. Oh, no. Mom, that was so cool. I just got kicked by a Power Ranger, and I lived. I was sold. The dojo was so fun. I mean, the space was awesome. There was a small viewing area for the parents, a little section with the front desk where you could buy your gear. Bunch of stuff on the wall. The Black Belt Club is on one wall. I'll talk about that in a little bit. When you join Rising Sun Karate Academy, you get the handbook. I unfortunately can't show you everything that's in here for, legal reasons, but I'd like to go over a few things. I haven't looked at this at a long time, so I love the quote on the back. I come to you with only karate, empty hands. I have no weapons. But should I be forced to defend my principles, my honor, or myself, should it be a matter of life or death, right or wrong, then here are my weapons. Karate, my empty hands. If I had hair, it would be standing on end. I have agreed with that principle my whole life. People can always take things from you. They can take your money, your possessions, your weapons, but they can't take your knowledge and skills. And they can't take the years of dedication and forging your bones. Well, if they do, I guess you have bigger problems, right? But here is my original ID card. That's me. Proof that I was there. I also have little, I believe these are the guest passes. Yeah. VIP guest pass, bring a friend for a day. I tried to get my friends to do it, but I couldn't get anyone to go with me. You'd think the Power Ranger would be a really good selling point, but whatever. Their loss. The handbook has a lot of material in it. The first page is a goal-setting page where you put down a date of when you would like to get your next belt. It talks about how written goals are very important, and it's important to set the goals and stick to them. There's a lot of inspirational quotes in here. There's a poem from Dale Winbrow, a quote from Master Rick Herbster, one of the co-founders of Rising Sun. They go into the definition of karate. They have a little breakdown on Sensei Jason. He looks really young. Then they talk about the Black Belt Club. At this school, master marketing. If you're one of the top students and you perform well, you show up often, you respect everyone, and you have good grades in school, that was important, you get invited to the Black Belt Club. I remember we got the letter in the mail, and my parents said, you got something. And I'm 11 years old at the time, so what do I get mail for? It was my invitation. You have been invited to the Black Belt Club. I flipped out. I was running around the house on all fours up that stairs. The Black Belt Club. I got it. I was excited. Once you're in the Black Belt Club, you get access to the weapons training. And I started with the Nunchucks. These are my original chucks. And you can see they're barely holding on by a thread. And they have been taped over many, many, many times. I have since picked up many more pairs of chucks. The ones I use today are old-fashioned wooden. But my love for the Nunchucks all started at Rising Sun. It was the first weapon we picked up, and I loved it. I had been watching Bruce Lee. I mean, you understand. The other thing about the Black Belt Club is that once you're in, a black belt is made with your name sewn into the back in gold, and they put it up on the wall so that the whole time you're training, you can look up at it and say, man, that's my name. That's for me. It's just waiting there. Really good motivator. Excellent marketing. Again, he was a master of business. So, needless to say, I felt very honored and part of an elite group to be invited. I took to karate very quickly, and Sensei Jason noticed. In fact, I went to test for my yellow belt, and they have this little room in the back that's for testing. Small, very small viewing bench. The lights are dark, and there's like one overhead spotlight. So you really feel the literal spotlight is on you. And it feels like a stage. Super dramatic, super cool, super on par with a movie star, right? I do the test for my yellow belt. The test is, do this many blocks, do this many punches, what's a ki? And at the end of the test, he's sitting there, and he's bent over like this. He goes, that's good, you passed. I relax, right? But then he goes, you ready for your orange? I froze. The thing was, I was ready for orange. Because we have a handbook with all of the requirements for every belt, I was working ahead. So I knew yellow belt, I'm like 2 belts ahead in terms of the curriculum. But I was nervous. I was called out. He knew I had practiced extra, and he wanted to give me the opportunity to step up. And I did. I did the orange belt blocks. I did the orange belt punches. I did my kata. Then I answered the questions. There was always a verbal question and answer element to the test. Like, it started off very easy, what's a ki? Why is it good? As you go up the ranks, it becomes more complicated, more philosophical, trying to like character building sorts of questions. Very nice touch. Parents loved it. I felt, I was doing karate with my fists and my mind. So, I mean, I can't stress enough how thorough the approach was in his teaching style. Very good with kids. Crazy good with kids. I mean, I was 11 years old and I remember being shocked at how personable and how human he was. I mean, once you get close to the guy and you can see the pores on his face and you can smell the fact that he uses the same brand of hair gel that you do because he's spiking his hair in the 90s and then you spike your hair because everyone else is doing it in the 90s. I got to see a really human side of him. And it was really powerful. Seeing someone that I had seen on TV, an idol. Everyone knew the Green Power Ranger. But I had proof that he was a man. Having that in person, feeling that mentorship from him was so powerful. I felt so included. Someone that special cared about me enough to push me past my yellow belt and skip. He recognized my potential and my passion, and he fed into it. He didn't have to do that. He could have just taken the tuition money, phoned it in, whatever, I do movies. No. He wanted us to be as good as him and better. There's a list of every single block, punch, kick, throw you will learn in the curriculum up to black belt. I can't show you, but I mean, it's like hook kick, jump spin hook kick, 360, this, that, and the other kick. I mean, the section on kicks is this long. I'm looking at some of my old notes for my nunchuck kata. Man, my handwriting hasn't changed at all. Then there's a breakdown of some of the different martial arts that blend into the style. The style of karate we practiced was Tosakundo, which is sort of a Bruce Lee style amalgamation of different things. So we had some, it was American karate, right? So a blend. We had some Kempo, we had some judo throws, some Aikido principles. A lot of stuff like that mixed in. Definitely, we did a lot more of the flashy, wushu, spin, jump, flip kicks than any of the other dojos I've been to, but knowing who it came from, that it makes sense. What else do we got in here? White belt curriculum. It says here you must be able to take a strike. And I have all my notes up until green belt. Man. This is great. You'll see here, I am missing the yellow belt that I double tested for. And then the remainder of my belts here. My last belt that I received from Sensei Jason was my green belt. Again, my favorite color from my favorite Power Ranger. I had half a mind to never advance just to stay a green belt. Here I have one of the certificates, a little stained from water damage over the years, but I do have his signature on all of my belt forms. It's not for sale. Before karate, I was not confident. I was shy, and I worried a lot. Karate taught me confidence in myself. And not because I'm a badass or because I can fight. It's just the principle. No matter what your problem is, you show up, you face it head on with empty hands, and you push through. That is the karate way. You go directly through your problems. You don't avoid it. You do not retreat. You punch straight through, immediately and with full force. That kind of attitude changed me completely. And now, I had this weapon in my back pocket. A weapon that no one could take from me. Even the number of years between when I've trained at different dojos, I've always felt that in my back pocket. I have that training. I know I can take care of myself. And I know if push comes to shove, if I am faced with adversity, all I have to do, grit my teeth and go straight through. That attitude has served me very well in life, and I would not have made it or made many of the choices I made without that. I went back to school after several months, and my bully came up, and he said, it's time to go in the lockers, and he grabbed me, and I said, you don't want to do this. This is your warning. And I knew immediately, this is it. This is the time. I'm ready. I'm going to blast through this kid. I am not putting up with this anymore. So I told him, don't do it. He continued to push me, get a grip on my shirt. I said, okay, downward block. Boom! Hit him right in the nerve cluster on top of his forearm. And I was ready to go. I went, boom! And I was ready to fight. He ran like I've never seen anyone run. Just as soon as he, like Scooby-Doo, gone. I didn't see him for several years. Later in high school, I actually saw him again. And at this point, I've had this confidence for years. I've, become, a different person. So I see him and I go, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in forever. And I feel fine. I just want to say hello and see what's up. He sees me, same facial expression from years, boom, takes off. I was, but that is how powerful the message I sent to him. I said, no, never again. And he remembered it. And he had a real fear response based on an 11-year-old's single defense and confidence to, okay, you want to throw down? I'm ready. Well, turns out he wasn't ready. After that, I wasn't bullied anymore. People knew that I could fight, and people would test me. I remember one time, a friend of mine threw a punch out of my peripheral. I dodge and catch it. It was sheer luck. It had nothing to do with my training. I was not some catch the fly guy. But and that was all it took. He went, oh, how did you do it? And so the story spread that I would just catch a punch out of nowhere. Again, total lies, but who cares? It's unfortunate that Sensei Jason did not feel like he could open up about what he was struggling with. I believe he would have found a lot of support from the community. I mean, mental health is something that is now being talked about openly. And I think about how things could be different. How many people's lives he could continue to touch. Because I'm just one guy. One kid who spent a little over a year training with him, and he touched many, many thousands, maybe millions more lives. I always figured one day that I would see him again, and I could talk to him and tell him everything that he did for me. All the things that he unlocked. I would not have accomplished half of the things that I have without his inspiration and his belief in me. Me. He knew my name. He saw me as special. I never got the chance to tell him in person, but I did it. I did it with my name on it and everything in gold. I did it, and it's because of you. Thank you, Sensei, for everything.